Hi guys, Rob Hampson here with Gavin Chaplin, and it's just been such an interesting journey for me working with Gav and watching him train horses, and it's just fascinated me how quickly he's able to make a difference with the horse, and I just thought it'd be an interesting subject for him to just explain to us how that process came about of training horses.
Okay, Rob, I think, number one, I don't do anything particularly different to anybody else. All the really good horsemen use the same techniques that I'm using. I think that there's one thing for me, and things happen in your life where at the time they seem so harsh, but actually later in your life they really come back and give you the incredible ability to do things differently. And if you look at Oprah Winfrey's great quote about turn your wounds into wisdom, that's wonderful. So I go back in my sort of life story really to a little mountain school. I lived in the back of Beyond in the mountains, and the only school we had was run by this poor lady who was completely disfigured in the Second World War, big scar on her face, and I think she had a sort of a vendetta against the world. But I am totally dyslexic. I can't add, and I can't spell. Thank God for spell check, and thank God for calculators, because I'm dead without them, But at that point, it was a crisis in my life, because I can remember seeing these figures and being asked to spell, and the punishment was every day go to the quince hedge, pick a stick, come back, have your head put in a cupboard, and get beaten because you're lazy. And I can remember those feelings of panic because I was being asked to do what I can't do. Okay? So that's translated for me so much into the horses, because I think the difference in my training methods is I only ever teach one thing. I never blend lessons to start with. Okay? If I'm teaching a horse to roll back, I will teach it to step first, not to roll back. Because now you're teaching 3-4 things at once, and you're going to get that panic situation from the horse, and it's going to react like I did at that school, and end up with facial twitches and be a total wreck as a human being. But if you teach it to step, it gets that. So half a step to start, it's enough. But you've got to ride well enough to know where to put your hands and how to get it to take that half step. Now when it learns to take the step, it can put this foot into space. It doesn't tread on itself. When it treads on itself, it hurts. Now the horse jumps and you're wondering why it's jumped. Because you didn't teach one thing, then the next thing, and then strike out on that lead. So it's ready, steady, go. But you've taught that one step at a time. There's no panic. The horse is not panicking because you're taking the time to teach it. And there's that great quote by Pat Pirelli when everybody asks him, so how long does it take you? And he says, it takes the time it takes. So go on teaching that lesson until the horse has got it. Now add the next thing. And once it's learned all three, now you can blend. So I've learned to add, I've learned to subtract, and now I've learned to multiply. Now I can start to do sums. And pretty soon, once I've got that all right, I can do the logarithms and I can do all of that kind of stuff. Not that I can now, because I probably never will be able to, but it's just a no panic approach for me. To teach the things that everybody's teaching one at a time, so that the horse understands what it's being asked to do, then it never panics. And I think that that's the big change for me and what I've developed as a training method that goes back to teaching you how to teach that horse to do that one thing, then add, then blend. So that's for me how it's worked.